The return of the Earth. So, after days in the darkness of space, traveling further than any human mission in over 50 years, the crew of Artemis II is finally coming home. Four astronauts orbiting the moon and carrying humanity's hope now begin the most critical phase of their journey recently into Earth. The Orion spacecraft is quiet inside, the crew trapped tightly into their seats. Every movement is precise, every checklist has been completed. They are trained for this moment for years, but nothing compares to the real thing. Outside the window, Earth appears a glowing blue sphere, glowing larger with every person around. Home, Reentry Interface. The voice from Mission Control cuts the silence. At this point, Orion is traveling at over 39,000 kilometers per hour. Wow, wow, that's faster than any spacecraft returning from low Earth orbit. This speed is necessary because the moon is much farther than most people realize. But it also means one thing: the heat of reentry will be extreme. As Orion approaches Earth, it begins to align itself as a precise angle, not too steep, not too shallow. Too steep, and the spacecraft could burn in the atmosphere. Too shallow, and it could escape off the atmosphere like a stone across water and be lost in space. Everything depends on precision. At this moment, Orion touches the outer layer of Earth's atmosphere. The air begins to compress in front of the spacecraft, creating a massive wall of heat. Temperatures rising to nearly 2,800 degrees Celsius. Wow, that's very, very hot. Very hot. That's hotter than molten lava. Really? Molten lava like a volcano. So, from the outside, Orion is surrounded by plasma, a glowing sheaf of superheated gas. It looks like the spacecraft is on fire. Inside, the crew feels the first sign of deceleration. Gravity begins to pull at them, light at first, then heavier. Communications begin to fade. The plasma around the spacecraft blocks radio signals. For several minutes there is silence. Mission Control can no longer hear the crew. The world waits. Inside Orion, the astronauts remain calm. They've trained for this. They trust the spacecraft. They trust the heat shield, one of the most advanced ever built, designed to withstand the brutal return from lunar velocity. The G-force increase. 2, 3, 4. Their body feel heavier and heavier, pressed firmly into their seats. Breathing becomes more controlled, more deliberate, but everything is working exactly as planned. Outside, the fiery glow intensifies as Orion dives deeper into the atmosphere. The spacecraft uses a unique skip reentry technique, briefly dipping into the atmosphere, then lifting back out before final descent. This helps reduce heat and control the landing zone with incredible accuracy. It's a dance with physics, and it must be perfect. Then the plasma begins to fade, the heat drops, the spacecraft slows, and suddenly Orion, This is mission control. We have you back. Communication is restored. A wave of relief spreads across the control room. Applause erupts, but it's not yet over. Now, descending through the lower atmosphere, Orion prepares for parachute deployment. At about 9 kilometers above the ocean, the first parachutes deploy. Small drogue chutes. They stabilize the spacecraft, slowing it down. Moments later, the main parachutes deploy. Three massive red and white canopies burst open against the sky. They expand fully, catching the air, gently slowing Orion's descent from thousands of kilometers per hour to just a few dozen. Inside, the astronauts feel a sudden change from intense force to calm. The ride smooths out. They look at each other. Smiles begin to form. They made it. Below them, the vast ocean stretches out. Recovery teams are already in position. Ships, helicopters, and divers waiting for splashdown. Splashdown in 30 seconds. So the countdown begins. 30, 20, 10, 0, and then splash. Orion hits the water. A powerful but controlled landing. The mission is complete. For a moment, everything is still. The spacecraft floats gently, rocking on the ocean surface. Inside, the crew takes it in. They have just traveled around the moon and returned safely to Earth. A journey that marks the beginning of a new era in human exploration. Outside, recovery teams move in quickly. Divers secure the capsule, cables are stretched, the spacecraft is lifted carefully into the recovery ships. Hatches will soon open, fresh air will rush in, and the astronauts will step out back into Earth. But this mission is more than just a return. Artemis II is proof that humans are ready to go further, to the moon again and beyond, to Mars, to deep space, to places we've only dreamed of. As the crew looks back one last time at the sky, they know something has changed, not just for them, but for all of humanity. Because every mission like this pushes the boundary a little further and reminds us that we are explorers. This is Artemis 2, and this is only the beginning. So this is how they landed the Artemis 2 from space. Yes, subscribe more Tech Fantasy Hub for more updates.